The purpose of jealousy seems to be to protect the relationship.
Really?
Now, obviously, at extreme ends, this can be pathological. But if somebody doesn't seem to care at all and doesn't seem to do anything to defend the relationship, that's not a great sign either.
What's your thoughts on insecurities and jealousies in an intimate relationship? Is it good to have insecurity and be jealous? Or is it more harmful to the relationship long term when someone is insecure and jealous?
This is such a fascinating question because I wish there was a one-word simple answer. And the thing is, there isn't. Because first and foremost, the purpose of jealousy and insecurity in a relationship is a positive one. When they took a group of people and they looked at who were dating and they measured them on levels of jealousy, then they checked back in 4 years later. Some of them had split them up. Some of them had stayed together. It was the people who felt somewhat more jealous who stuck together.
Come on.
The purpose of jealousy seems to be to protect the relationship.
Really?
Now, obviously, at extreme ends, this can be pathological. But if somebody doesn't seem to care at all and doesn't seem to do anything to defend the relationship, that's not a great sign either. So we're looking at a mid-range. We're looking at a healthy amount where, hey, this seems like a negative. I don't want the relationship to end. I want to protect it. That shows investment.
Right.
Too much, if this person is perpetually concerned that everything is a negative, this can be someone who's dealing with more serious issues.
What about the relationships that have lasted 30, 40 years that are super happy still?
Yeah.
Or are they jealous? Or is it more of like, I'm investing in ways to protect the relationships, growth and fulfillment and bond without being insecure and jealous that you're going off with your girlfriends or guy friends or whatever.
Yeah.
What are those?
When you look at people who have been in happy marriages for decades, it's crazy. This is a small portion of people, but some people, when they're put in an MRI scanner, their brains 40 years later look like people who are newly in love.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
And it's actually better. Because when you look at people who are newly in love, there's these positive emotions, brains throwing off sparks.
Yeah.
It's
healing. They call it sexual healing, right? It's like this feeling,
It is comparable to amphetamines. They are feeling great, but there's also the anxiety because we're always a little bit scared.
What if I lose it? What if it's gone?
When you look at people who are still in love decades later, it's all the positives without the anxiety. It's...
How do you get to a place of all positive without stress and anxiety in an intimate relationship?
I mean, part of that is the issue of ongoing communication, where it's like something comes up, we deal with it. When Gottman looked at what produced, a great marriage, he found it was 5-to-1, 5 positives for every 1 negative. But here was the interesting thing, because we've heard that a few times. What's fascinating is if you get down to like 1-to-1, not good, 1 good for every bad, that's headed for divorce. 13-to-1 was also bad. 13 goods for every bad was also bad because what that meant was somebody's not speaking up. Somebody is having issues, is having concerns,
and they're not neglecting
and they're letting it build up.
Well, this is why, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to self-analyze myself because, as I told my partner Martha, I was like, "Listen, there's nothing you can do that will make me upset at you." I said this a year ago when we first started dating. Now, maybe, frustrated or, confused or something like that, or like, I didn't like that, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But for me to get upset, it means there's something that I'm a prisoner to. I'm a prisoner to you doing something and I react to it. That means it's something I got to work on.
Yeah.
It's something I got to process and learn to heal and move through so I'm not triggered. I may not like something, but reacting with anger is more about me than what you do.
Absolutely.
And if you do something out of integrity that may be harmful for the relationship, we get to communicate it and then make a decision on what's going to happen. But me getting angry is about me and the things I need to work on. That's at least my perspective. And that's why I said I will do consistent, coaching and therapy every 2 weeks to improve myself.
Yeah.
And we'll do it together so that we can talk through these things as opposed to waiting or just neglecting it. It's like a consistent communication, like you said.
Yeah.
But the 13-to-1, I feel like we're 13-to-1, or maybe more, because we're in consistent conversation about maybe something that's unsettling.
Yeah.
She does a really good job of communicating and saying, listen, hey, I want to talk to you about something. You didn't do anything wrong, but I just want to be able to talk about
Yeah.
this. And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't need to be defensive.
Yeah.
You're not attacking me,
Yeah.
right? And let's address it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like a bad thing. It's just more like we're communicating and there's some, messiness, but let's get through it. And then we come together stronger.
Yeah. Well, you're bleeding off all of the difficulties.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job of like keeping the line out of the red.
Yes.
I mean, it's like with that ongoing communication. And I mean, you are basically practicing, CBT in yourself. It's like cognitive behavioral therapy, most proven, most demonstrated method, is that issue of is that basically the adversity is not what causes our emotions. Our beliefs are what causes our emotions. And when we have unrealistic, irrational beliefs, this should never happen. Nobody should treat me like this.
Oh, then.
You can't control that. I can't control how other people act. I can't control how the world deals with me. So that issue of when you say, hey, okay, my belief, this does happen. People do this. These things do occur. You're having rational assumptions about the world, and your feelings are never getting out of control.
Right. It's never like too crazy high or too crazy low. It's like you might have some movement, but it's like trying to have a conscious, rational thought.
Yeah.
And not take everything so personally.
It never gets to the level of anger. It stays at like rational disappointment.
Yeah. Or I feel uncomfortable. I didn't like this feeling.
Yeah.
But I don't need to explode on someone.
Oh, yeah. You're not demanding that the universe give you what you want. You have realistic preferences. I would prefer this.
Yeah.
But I'm not insisting that.
And so let's communicate about it, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. It was sad. Something came up. I can't remember what you were just saying, but it came up to me that like, one day every relationship ends in this physical world, right? It's like, and I told Martha, my girlfriend, early on, I go, isn't it sad that one day I'm going to be at your funeral or you're going to be at mine? It's most likely what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If we're together for, a long period of time, and I hope we are, that's probably what's going to happen. Yeah. And it's sad to think about that you're going to be at the funeral of the person you care about the most. It's really sad to think about. But it brings me back into now and how can I appreciate what we're creating together right now the most.
Yeah.
Make the most of it. Have great time. Let things go that don't matter that much. Yeah. Communicate. You're not suppress those things, but let them go or communicate through it to then align on what do we value, what are our agreements, so that we're on the same team.
Yeah.
And I think that perspective has given me a beautiful gift of appreciation.
Yeah.
And how important is appreciation, gratitude, and acknowledging your partner in an intimate relationship?
I mean, beyond. I mean, first and foremost, one of the most, look at all the happiness research. Gratitude is like the tactical
Number
nuke
one.
Because just that issue, it's amazing because not only is that issue of you're not taking things for granted, you're appreciating them, you're realizing that the world could have been differently, but so many other things when we focus on that money, that thing, that achievement, it's amazing that gratitude is just a perspective shift. It doesn't cost anything.
Simple shift.
It doesn't cost anything. We just have to take the time to realize how much worse could things have been. It didn't have to go this way. And one of the things, most of this is work by Martin Seligman at University of Pennsylvania, is that not only does gratitude help us, but one of the most powerful things we can do to make someone else happy is what he calls a gratitude visit, which is schedule a time with somebody, maybe it's your partner, you schedule some time, and beforehand you write up like a single page letter and just tell them all the wonderful things that they've done for you and how much it's impacted you and how much it's changed you and how much you appreciate it. You schedule a time, you don't tell them what's going to transpire. You sit down and you read the letter to them. First off, you better have tissues because most people cry.
Wow.
And second off, this has been shown to increase the other person's happiness for months afterwards. How often do we feel like people aren't supporting us, don't think about us, don't appreciate us? To sit down and schedule a time and make it all about them, to have prepared, to have made a list. How flattering is that? And how great is that to give someone else that gift? It is one of the most powerful happiness exercises that we have for both people is exactly what you said, to deliberately, consciously show gratitude that way.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.